Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, Shopify, Duda, WordPress, GoDaddy Web Builder. Man, there's a lot of these out there. Interesting names for sure. And I know you can use those to build websites, but how do I decide? And if I have a website, which one should I be on? More than anything, how do I decide? Do I decide based on cost, based on features, based on the nice customer service rep I talk to, ease of use? How do I know any of this stuff before I even get started? In this episode, I'll go over the characteristics of these systems, content management systems as they're known, the benefits of each of them, or at least collectively, and then their main drawbacks, again, collectively, and then I'll make a recommendation on which one you should use. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If it's related to digital marketing, I'll talk about it. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app you use to listen. In this episode, I want to talk about the different CMS or content management systems that you can use to build your website. Content management system is basically the back end of your website that where you program, put your JavaScript in, your coding in, and all that kind of stuff. The system that basically you use to build a website. You manage your photos, your videos, your copy, images, design files, and everything like that. So that's technically what a content management system is. And there's a lot of them out there. There are quite a few that are pretty easy to get started with. And there are some that are pretty complicated. But I'm just going to reference a couple of them here. I'll just go over the ones that I've come across over the years and what I feel like are the strong ones and which I feel like are the weak ones, and what my recommendation would be. So with that said, let's get started. Obviously, WordPress is the king of content management systems. I think it powers, 35% of the internet now, meaning 35% of all websites on the internet is built on WordPress. And to keep that in perspective, I mean, that's just a lot of websites if you ask me. So anyway, WordPress comes in two flavors. There's the .com version where you can basically go to wordpress.com, set up your account, get your domain name and all that kind of stuff, and then you can set your website. And the second version is the .org, where it's called the self-hosted version. And you download WordPress, install it on your server, and then build your website there. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the .com for the most part at this first part of the conversation, and then I'll talk a little bit about the .org one later on. But similar to the WordPress.com platforms, there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's Duda, Weebly, and then of course there's Shopify, which is mostly for e-commerce, but it acts the same way. And then there is the GoDaddy Web Builder. I come across that one quite a few times as well. I'm not exactly sure if they're still promoting that product, but I have seen quite a few websites in my career built on GoDaddy Web Builder. The main characteristics of these platforms is they're basically SaaS, SaaS, software as a service. They're cloud-based, they're single billing, they're hosted at somebody else's, at the provider's servers. You don't have any say of where you want to host your website. So Wix is hosted on Wix's servers, Squarespace is hosted on Squarespace's servers. You can't say, I want to host it somewhere else. So that's one of the main things is they basically include all of those hosting charges and the website fees all into one lump sum. And that basically saves you the hassle of having to go through and find a host and all that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of these platforms you can pay monthly, but there's definitely a discount if you pay annually. And those costs can vary depending on the packages you want and the features that you select. But basically, once you have your account, you basically choose from templates. And that's not to say that, you can't really choose a nice template, but there's only so many templates. I mean, the library is pretty large for most of these, but still there's only so many templates that are appropriate for you that you like. And you basically, once you choose your template, it's a drag and drop method technology for you to basically design your site and put things together for you, right? So it's usually pretty intuitive. Most people can follow the step-by-step guide, change the name of the company on the website on the template, upload your copy, upload your image, follow the instructions on what the interior pages should look like, and pretty soon, after a couple hours of work, you'll have your website. Also, they usually also have live interactive views. So as you're working on the site, you can actually get a preview of what your site would look like. So that those can be pretty nifty as well. You can customize your design, but then again, I mean, it kind of defeats the point of using these systems if you have to bring a designer in, right? These systems are all built on the notion that it's a do-it-yourself mechanism. So you can basically open an account and then have your own website done within a short period of time without having to involve a designer or a developer, or for you to have to learn design and for you to have to learn coding at the same time. So once you've built your website, you can go back and tinker with it, make changes and things like that. You can add your own domain name, so you're not beholden to what they already give you or the temp one that maybe you have. If you're using the free plans, I'm sure that there's limitations there, but at some point you're going to have to pay, even if it's a minimal $10, $12 a month. And at that price point, you will get your own domain name. So at that point, all you have to do is you can either buy the domain name through the provider themselves, or you can buy it through another provider and then just point the A records as these providers give you instructions. So anyway, so those are the main characteristics of these systems. The main benefits that they basically provide to you is they're easy to use, no doubt about it. I've used some of these in the past. Easy to use. You can get something up pretty quick. Not a lot of work. The main thing is you do want to plan for your website. You do want to plan how many pages you want, what you want on those pages, what kind of images you want on those pages, and things like that. And once you have a really good idea of what you want on those, just going in and making those changes, it's not that hard. So definitely easy to use. They're meant to be do-it-yourself systems. I know that some of the templates get pretty complicated, and some businesses have tried to use it for more than what the system gives you. And that's when I think in Shopify, for instance, you can find different template experts out there. You can pay them and they can basically go in there and then add in the features or make the kind of changes that you need and things like that. Now, some of and then also the main thing is you don't have to be a programmer and you don't have to be a designer, right? And there's a lot of us out there that are not programmers and that are not designers. So, but there's a lot of us that want to, and there's a lot of us that are still wanting to start a business, right? So I think it's these platforms are meant to serve a certain type of person. My experience is the one-stop shop feel also makes it very easy. And one payment. You don't have to worry about anything with hosting and renewing domains and things like that. At least if you keep everything together. So a lot of these systems, in my opinion, have been great for mom and pop shops and hobby sites for the most part. And they could be short-term sites as well. Like if you're getting a business going and you don't have a lot of money and you want to get a website up and all that kind of stuff, you can do that as well. But these sites tend to have a stocky feel to them. I mean, no matter how much you customize it and things like that, you can't get away from the fact that it feels like a template. It feels like it's a generic site. And so the ways in which the modern consumer comes to trust a website, trust a brand, some of those elements that you want in a business site are just not possible there. I mean, maybe there is, but at that point, if you're hiring a designer and you're hiring a developer to hack these systems, kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. So the main issues that I run into when I talk to business owners about these platforms, and many times the businesses that I talk to about these platforms are talking to me because of a couple of issues that they've got. The first thing that they run into is they feel like the SEO and content marketing part that they want to push is very limited in these systems. I know I'm generalizing. Some of them have better tools than others, and they've introduced more tools over the years. Don't get me wrong, there are, but I don't think that it's keeping up with all the stuff that a system like WordPress.org would offer, or something similar to that. So that's one issue that always comes up. I'll talk to business owners. I'll ask them how they feel about their website. And a lot of times when they express that they're not very happy with it, and they say it's because of SEO and they just can't seem to get it to optimize, they just can't seem to do this and that. And I look in, and usually one of the systems that I mentioned to you earlier. So, and it's not like they're unhappy with the design or anything. They're just unhappy with the SEO part. And I think this is where the value proposition becomes very interesting, because if you're going to have to pay an expert to start working on your website, then I think it's kind of self-defeating to have an enclosed system like these that requires very specialized knowledge. Because basically, let's say you're on Squarespace, the specialized knowledge that you would need to be able to navigate the platforms and things like that would be so Squarespace specific that a generic, a PHP programmer or somebody like that would not be very valuable to you. And so that's kind of where it becomes a little bit self-defeating. So you have a do-it-yourself system, but at a certain point, you can't do it yourself anymore. You have to hire somebody, and you have to hire somebody very specific with something, very specific knowledge, with a system that is very closed, and so things like that. So I've definitely run into that issue with a lot of business owners. And then the other thing that people sometimes get very unhappy about is actually the design themselves. And I know that I mentioned earlier that design wasn't always what people are unhappy about, but when I do get talking to business owners that are maybe outgrowing these systems, one of the things that they talk about is wanting to be able to add more features to their site. They want to be able to do XYZ. They feel like their competitors can do XYZ on their site. Their customers are asking for this. They want to be able to, integrate their CRM. They want to be able to put some HubSpot tools in there, things like that. So again, I think for a DIY system, if you have to start to go out and get specialized support for these things, then it becomes very self-defeating, in my opinion. But anyway, so those are the two main things that I run into when customers or businesses come to me about these systems. I'll just share from my SEO perspective, because I haven't really done a lot of SEO with WordPress.com, but definitely done a lot of SEO with self-hosted WordPress sites where you download the system and then you install it, and then you design the site, you launch it. Most of my career has been on that. And what I can tell you is that hands down, the SEO tools that are available in that kind of setup is just boundless. I mean, they're up to date, they're the latest, they're cutting edge, they're just more widely used. Like I said, when 34% of the World Wide Web is using your software, you are the trendsetter. You are the one that kind of lays the benchmark down in terms of what should be possible to do in SEO. And historically, Google has just loved WordPress sites. I mean, that's my experience. And I've done a lot of websites over the years. I've done Wix sites, Squarespace sites, Weebly sites, and Duda sites and things like that. And hands down, nothing beats the tools that are available on WordPress.org. So some of the things that, for instance, I'll just give you an example. So some of the SEO plugins that are available, top of the line, state of the art, absolutely current with the Google algorithm, is the SEO Yoast plugin, and then the all-in-one SEO. I started out using the all-in-one SEO, but switched to the SEO Yoast plugin a few years ago, and that's a whole different topic, but we'll address that in another podcast. But anyway, both of these tools, I mean, you can optimize at the page level, right? So you can basically put all your content into a page. The plugin sits at the bottom. You enter the keyword that you want to optimize that post for, and then boom, it gives you a checklist of all the things where you could make improvements, changes, and things like that. So it'll say, it'll give you a recommendation on key phrases on the subheading. Is that working? Is that not working? Any recommended use of synonyms, the image alt tags. What should you put? Recommendations on that. outbound links, inbound links, internal links, key phrases and introductions, and then also the length of the key phrase, the density of the key phrase, in the meta description, in the body copy, things like that. I mean, those are just real time information. They give you a red, green, or yellow along all of these characteristics, and then you basically can spend 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long you want to get the post that you just wrote, or the copy or the page that you just put together at the green level, or at least at the yellow level, with as many greens as possible. And then by the time you publish your content, it's already optimized. And so I just haven't seen that kind of tool in these other platforms. So if you're really serious about SEO and things like that, I personally don't know how I could do SEO on a site without that kind of tool, because these tools make it so easy. And then if you buy the more advanced SEO Yoast tools and the advanced all-in-one SEO tools and things like that, I mean, the level of features that you get are just higher. And so your content is just immediately optimized from day one, and Google loves it. So there's no like tinkering going back and forth and things like that. That's one tool that's really readily available to WordPress sites that are not available easily to the other sites. The other one that I'm a big proponent of these days is schema markups. Now, schema markups is a structured data vocabulary that helps search engines better understand the information on your website. So let's say you have a FAQ page, and you can basically put together a schema markup for that FAQ page and kind of identify the type of questions you answer, the level of difficulty, or whatever you desire. And you can basically create that, and you can submit that at the top of your page very easily in WordPress. You could just copy paste the code, put it in. There are actually schema markup plugins out there that can help you customize it so that you have custom schema markup in each page. And the days of one schema markup for the whole website is long gone. You want each of your pages to have the right schema markup for each page so that each page gets categorized differently. So for instance, the Contact Us page will have different schema markup than the FAQ page. The services page could have a different one. The home page could have a different one, and things like that. And then your blog pages can have their own type of schema markup and things like that as well. So that to me is just one of the cutting edge SEO things. It's instantly doable. You can do it today if you have a WordPress site. I'm not so sure that it's easy to do in a lot of these platforms. I know that I looked this up a little bit on Squarespace to see what the issues might be. There are workarounds to getting it done, but again, for a do it yourself DIY system, you are now in a position where you have to learn some very specialized things to be able to do something that is relatively effortless when you try to do it on WordPress. So again, I think it cuts both ways in that regards. And also there's a couple of nuances on when you're self-hosting your site that you get a lot of control over your site. You can influence your site speed. You can move your site to a different host if you're not happy with the host. You can add caching plugins to speed up your site. There's all kinds of things that you could do. You could buy a little bit more faster hosting with your hosting provider, optimize your code, and things like that to make things a lot easier. So and speed of your website is very important. So anyway, those are just control issues. I don't know that they're necessarily issues for the systems like Wix and all those other platforms, but it is an issue that does come up from time to time for us on some of the websites we've worked on, and being able to have that level of control on the site has always been very powerful. So anyway, one of the other bigger things about using a system like WordPress, a self-hosted WordPress, is that you can customize your design to exactly what you want. You don't need to look cookie cutter at all. You can get a really good designer. They're not expensive. Work with a really good designer to get a design that is absolutely what you want, represents your brand, represents your company, and then get a WordPress developer to program that site for you, and things like that. So, and that's the other thing, is designers and developers for WordPress are a dime a dozen. I mean, you could find, they're literally everywhere. I mean, from the Ukraine to India to the US to Mexico, wherever you go, you're going to find WordPress designers, you're going to find WordPress developers and things like that. So there's never a shortfall in the talent that you need. So that's a big plus for me, is to be able to support the site long term and not to be beholden to one particular person or one particular technology, and to be caught flat-footed when something does happen and you can't get somebody, right? So again, that's a benefit to powering 35% of the internet. So again, design specific from a design perspective, things are very you can design it exactly the way you want. You can keep it very clean and just make the website exactly like yours. So that's one of the other main benefits there as well. And so with that in mind, so where do we land on this, right? Where do we land on this? Well, I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily give you a recommendation, but I think if you have been listening to this from the very beginning, you'll know that I have certain biases, right? I've been working with WordPress self-hosted websites for many years. I know it inside and out, pretty good at it, and things like that. So my favorite would be my recommendation is always for people to build on WordPress or something like that, like a self-hosted version that is a competitor to WordPress. I mean, you could do Joomla, Drupal, or whatever some of these other platforms are as well. I think you will get a lot of the same benefits as WordPress, even though those other platforms that I just mentioned to you has a lower user base, and so they don't have as many plugins and things like that as WordPress does. But again, that's my hands down recommendation. But I do understand that businesses, when they're small and they're starting out, they don't have a huge marketing budget, they don't have a huge website budget, and you do need to get started somewhere. So I think these platforms like Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, Aduda, even the GoDaddy website builder, Shopify, and things like that are great places to get started. And you can get started there, but do have a strategy. Do keep an eye on how you're growing if your website is growing with your business. Keep an eye on what your clients are saying and your prospects are saying about your website. How does your website make you look compared to your competitor? What are some features that you could add to make your website better that can also enhance your business process and things like that? So keep an eye on things like that, and then have a plan to, in my opinion, to switch 3 or 4 years into your business so that you can take advantage of the SEO and things like that, and the design tools and all the stuff that I just mentioned to you earlier. So that would be where I land on this topic. So again, to recap, today we talked about the different CMS systems, content management systems. We talked about WordPress.com, Wix, Squarespace, Duda, Weebly, Shopify, and then GoDaddy Web Builder as being the main examples of the ones that are the more SaaS, cloud-based, single billing hosted website builders out there. And then we compared that with WordPress.org, the self-hosted version where you basically download WordPress and then you install it on your server and then you build your website that way. We talked about the benefits of and the reasons for why you would want to use the SaaS versions, and then the reasons maybe why you want to use the WordPress.org version so that you can make the right decision. So that's kind of what we covered today in this episode. I'm glad you were able to join me today. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager at a company, or an entrepreneur, please tune in weekly. You'll gain some insights, tips, and tricks, and be a bit more enlightened when it comes to digital marketing. I promise you, if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discussed in this podcast, your business will definitely grow. Please subscribe to this podcast. You can do so by going to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and subscribe with the listening platform of your choice. That URL again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Also, don't forget to leave a review. Those mean a lot to me and can help others that would benefit from the information to share. Finally, I would love to hear from you. I love getting listener emails. So if you have questions, feedback, or any general comment about the topics I discuss on this podcast, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect at corneryourmarketpodcast.com. And again, please put listener comment in the subject line. Thanks for listening today. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.